What is going on? Sales Talk Uncensored on YouTube. David Huffman here. This is the first YouTube-specific video that I'm making for this channel, which is awesome. You guys normally see me on Facebook, like Facebook Live, so you see me interacting. You see me sitting here like this. Wait, oh, kick my phone stand. Sitting here like this. Let's just be awkward. Wait for people. Anyways, we're not doing that today, right? Today, I'm bringing you some awesome information because the goal of Sales Talk Uncensored is bringing you the realest information and saving you from the robots. We don't want those robots taking your job, right? You want to be in sales marketing for the rest of your damn career. It's a damn good career to be in. Huge part of sales and marketing, though, is affordability and getting people to buy the stuff. So if you're selling cell phones, insurance, real estate, cars, anything, affordability is a huge thing. With affordability, you have to think of credit. Now, credit isn't big for just the sales process, right? Credit is big for you too. So I brought on an expert with me, Kilan Anderson from 700 Credit Repair Houston. And he's going to talk about how credit helps you out both in the sales process. So when you're selling to people, how to get more approved, how to help out their credit in situations, as well as how it affects you, specifically being like a 1099 person, being self-employed, all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead, let's switch over to Kilan and blow us away, man. I know you got some knowledge bombs.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, David, I want to thank you so much for having me on and the premiere of this, launching this YouTube channel and getting these videos out there. I'm so excited to be part of this. So yeah, credit. You guys, if you're in sales, you understand how important credit really is. Not just with you and when you go to buy something, because most of us are commission-based. And when you're commission-based, they consider us higher risk because maybe we don't pay our bills as often as we can because they don't know about our income and how regular it's going to be. So having good credit is going to really help with you getting a loan for you personally. But let's talk about your daily life when you're talking to your customers. A lot of our customers don't have the greatest credit, and it may affect your sales. I know David, he sold cars for a little while. David, when you sold cars, how often were you losing out deals on people who loved you, loved your product, but just couldn't get approved on a credit?
So both cars and real estate. And here's the thing with selling cars. I was at a subprime dealership. And general rule of thumb is if you work at a dealership that advertises on hip-hop stations, you're not going to have a great time selling cars. So we worked at a subprime dealership right outside of Washington, D.C., advertised nothing but hip-hop stations, endorsed the Redskins, great dealership, right? Nothing frustrated me more than when I had someone come in a dire situation, needing my help. I was able to help them, and then we pull up their beacon, so we pull up their credit score, and it's like a 450, it's like a 500, and it's not a thing we can do. Or even worse, we can do something, but I see them at 22% interest rate. I see them at 23% interest rate, which blows my mind. I mean, that's like a $600 a month car payment on a $25,000 car. That's insane.
Yeah, and we see it affecting our lives, our clients' lives every single day. So I was in car sales for 5 years. I even dabbled into real estate a little bit, more the manufactured homing side of it. But I actually was, when I did the home sales, I was more involved with credit than I had ever been in the car industry. And that in regards to, I was personally pulling the credit, I was reviewing, I was analyzing, I was talking with the lenders. So I learned a lot about credit throughout my career as a car salesman, and then also as a mobile home salesman. And it is amazing how many people really don't understand anything, or they do understand some, but very little about credit and how it affects their daily lives. And so I decided to go ahead and hop in the credit industry and to start helping people and educating individuals on how to better their credit, how to improve their life. Because when you're paying 22% interest on a $10,000 car, that car probably isn't going to be in the best condition, and it might start having issues. And on top of paying a high car note because of all the interest rate, you're also having to pay to fix this car. And then what happens? It gets repossessed, and then your credit gets hit even more. And I don't know, David, if you ever had a customer that had happened to, but I know I did many times. And so I really wanted to help educate these individuals and help people understand credit. And one of the things that I've realized since I've been doing this that people have the hardest time with is understanding how to build credit. And I don't know about you, David, what are some of the things you've heard or advice you've given throughout your career when someone comes in, their credit isn't really that good? what are some tips that you typically give them when they're trying to build their credit?
I don't really dive into that too much because it's not my area of expertise. That's why we got you here. I can tell you some stuff I've heard, and
Yeah.
of course, telling people, hey, this isn't my area of expertise. Like, I'm not sure you should take my advice. Now, I've heard you want to increase your debt a little bit, so getting certain credit cards can help out. So increase, that revolving debt. You want to change up your income debt ratio. I mean,
Yeah.
I know in theory, but like I don't know. And that's the thing. And me having this huge sales and marketing background, car sales, real estate, all that fun stuff, is kind of scary because if you think about it, compared to the normal person and even a normal sales rep, I've been involved with credit and finance a lot. So what are
Well,
some ways that you would recommend?
yeah, and I was kind of calling you out there, and I was doing that as a kind of an example of someone who, like yourself, that has tons of experience dealing with credit and talking to people about credit on a daily basis when it comes to them purchasing something. There's not a lot of education, especially like when I was selling cars for 5 years. I sold cars. There was very little education about that because that wasn't our area of expertise. So when I got into this, I really wanted to understand how to help people. And you were right about opening up revolving credit, and that there are certain ways that you can do that that's going to help paying down your revolving debt if you have some. And there's a lot of different ways that you can really build your credit. And one of the biggest ways you can do that is making sure you're always paying your bills on time. And when I talk about bills, I'm talking about like your car note, your credit card, your installment loans, your cons, anything like that you have that's always reporting to your credit. You want to make sure those are paid on time. That's going to be one of the biggest things to help you build your credit. And then another thing that you can do is having revolving debt. So revolving debt is going to be something like your credit cards. So let's say you have a $1,000 credit card. The last thing you want to do is max that out. If you go and have a $1,000 credit card, you have an $800 balance. Well, what that does to the credit is it actually makes it look like you don't know how to manage your money. So you want to try to keep that balance as low as possible. We want to try to keep it below 10%. So on a $1,000 credit card, you want to keep it well below about $100. And if you can do that, you're going to really help your score. So, there's just a lot of different ways to really build your credit and help you out. I know one of the things that I learned more than that really was frustrating is collections. And David, I don't know if you ever ran into anybody that ever had any kind of medical collections or any kind of collections ever on their credit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's the worst thing ever. And if I can bring up something slightly off topic, this
Sure.
actually brings up small pet peeve of mine, right? I've been seeing on Facebook lately, social media, I've been seeing posts where people are like, hey, I wish that I paid less in health insurance or I could get rid of my health insurance to pay more in this preventive care. And I'm like, you're absolutely nuts. Like, do you know how big of a liability that is? And it's because of my experience with the people with the medical bills. It just blows my mind. I'm like, you're willing to put your family and yourself at a 7-figure potential debt? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, credit really, medical bills, anything on your credit can really negatively impact it when it gets into collections.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things we help you out with. Not to dive in too much with what we do, but really what we do is we help educate people on how to get items removed, how to increase their revolving debt. We have programs that help them open up revolving debt, and it really just makes your score go up a lot more. And it's so hard because a lot of people here's kind of a pro tip right here also. So let's say you have a bunch of medical collections or any kind of collections in general. A lot of people think that if they pay those off, their scores are going to go up. And a lot of times that isn't the case. I had a client recently that paid off a bunch of old debt, collections, actually, not just debt, but collections from 3 to 5 years ago. And it actually lowered his score because the collections re-hit his credit as new active accounts. And the accounts didn't really go away. So you really got to be careful when it comes to credit. And you, like David was saying, you want to make sure you're talking to an expert when you're talking to him, whether it's me or another credit repair expert. You really want to make sure you understand that. But how can you help your customers when it comes to their credit? And that's really kind of one of the things I wanted to focus on today, is making sure that if you are giving advice to your customers, make sure you're giving them good advice. And if you aren't sure, then you want to make sure that you have somebody that you can refer them to that can help them. And you can get them back in your pipeline so that you can sell them a car. I know when I was selling cars, if I had all the customers that I told no to because of their credit, if I could just get a percentage of those back, let's say 10% of those customers to come back to me and buy a
It'd be
car,
insane.
I would have been a super rock star. Because unfortunately, of the people you talk to, it's probably a pretty high percentage, at least in my area, that they were not qualified. And if I could get 10% of those back, man, I probably would have sold an extra 20 cars a month on top of the 20 I was already selling. So
Even thinking back to real estate for me, real estate is an industry. Like if I could get 10-15% of the people that couldn't get approved, or the people that were having issues for whatever reason, some of the times it's medical bills too, stuff popping up, but it'd be absolutely insane. Like you're right there.
Yeah, in real estate, we work with a lot of loan officers right now that help
Mhm.
people get approved for homes, and it is insane how many applications they go through before they're able to write one up and get an approval. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
so important that we, as sales professionals, are able to guide our customers and help them put themselves in a better position, and just be able to provide them a little bit of insight of what they can do to help fix their credit. And if you can increase your sales by doing this, well, then you're going to make yourself a superstar. And if you don't want to be a superstar, then get out of the car business. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love the car business. I love the sales.
Just get out of sales in general, man. If you want to be a
Yeah, man.
superstar, you shouldn't be in insurance, real estate, cell phones, cars. You shouldn't be in anything. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this up right quick. So Sales Talk Universe, right? If you're still on, if you're still watching this, go ahead, hit the sub button. And before we log off, Kylan, what is the one tip? For example, I'm selling cars and I got to bump that credit score up 20, 30 points, right? What's that one tip to tell my customers to bump that score up so I can get that sale in the next, 30 days?
Yeah, so one of the tips that you can do to bump that score up pretty quickly is actually a one phone call tip. And what they can do is if they already have a open revolving debt and they've been paying well on it, and there's just some other things that are affecting their credit, let's say like medical collections. Let's say they have a $1,000 debit or credit card and they have a decent balance, let's say $400 or $500 on it. If they're able to make one phone call to that lender and ask them to increase that credit limit, that right there could help their score jump up significantly because it's going to lower their overall credit utilization. And that's one of the things that we have our clients do is increase your credit limit, lower your overall debt when it comes to your credit limit, and your score will go up.
That makes sense. Never, ever thought about that.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
easy.
that's just one
It's a phone call. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that definitely works. So how do if people want to know more about credit repair or understand like credit is touchy, people don't want to talk about credit, but we all need help. We have customers that need help, right? And it helps us out, saving us money month after month. If people need to get a hold of you and people need your services at 700 Credit Repair Houston, how do people get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is really going to be on Facebook or social media. Just go to Kilan Anderson. David will put up the spelling right there on the screen for you. Or if you want to send me a text message, I'll just go ahead and give you my cell phone number. It's 928-243-6316. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have for you or your customers. I'll be more than happy to help you make more sales.
Awesome. Well, that is it. Sales Talk Uncensored, hashtag STU Army. Like I said, if you're still watching this, if you're still tuning in, go ahead, hit the sub button, hit that little bell thing, right? Give me some hearts too. No, I can't do hearts on YouTube, but when I do take this and I stream it on Facebook, I can do hearts on Facebook. So give me a heart when I put it on Facebook. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in.
Take care,
Don't
David.
forget to share this. All right. Take care, Kylan.